What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Tank B Choppin', and I'm coming at y'all with another haircut tutorial. So what we're doing on this cut is the taper and a slight trim on top. And when I say slight, I mean we just really taking off the wild hairs. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So I got my absolute hitters from Gamma. And y'all know I like to, when I do my tapers, I like to go ahead and start with lining people up behind the ear and over the ear and then putting my initial bald guideline in. So that is what I'm doing now. So once I'm done with this line, I'm gonna go ahead and set in my guideline, and I'm gonna set my bald guideline in a half circle type shape, and I'm gonna take off all that excess hair. And we are gonna leave the beard or the sideburns, so I don't wanna take that off, but I do wanna cut that hair off in between that and where I'm gonna bottom out for the taper, and then I'm gonna take it down with my shaver all the way down the skin. So here is my shaver, knocking all that down. As you can see, I'm flicking out towards the top of that taper or the top of that guideline so I don't leave too harsh of a line. So I got my ergos from Gamma. My clipper is open and I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch and I'm flicking out. So I'm doing a little more flicking than normal, and that's just because we have a lot of hair to fade into. So sometimes I start off my guideline like this, or I'll start it with the 2. But yeah, so right now I'm starting with the clipper open, and then I faded that line. So I did it clipper open, then I did it on the 3rd notch, and then I did it all the way closed to take out that bottom line. And then I'm just doing some slight detailing. So like I was saying, something I start with my 2, so I went ahead and did this as my 2nd step. I got my number 2 guard on there, and I'm just coming up and I'm floating the clipper away. I am starting off with the clipper on the scalp, and then I'm coming up and out towards the top of that hair. That way the number 2 guard fades into the rest of the hair. And this is basically like a debulking technique, but it's also faded in, so I don't have a lot of work to do basically after that 2 guard. All right, so now I'm gonna begin fading downward. I have my 1.5 guard on there. My lever is open, and I'm coming up right below what I just did. So I'm not going all the way up to where I used my number 2 guard. I'm staying right below that. And then I close my lever and I'm coming right below what I did with the lever open. And as you can see, I'm still flicking out. So now I got my number 1 guard on there. I got my lever open and I'm coming up right below what I did with my 1.5 guard. And this is just the down fading technique. And I did say it in my Q&A that sometimes I do this to make sure I don't go too high. So, you know, you can do this, like I said, if you don't want to go too high and you want to keep that fade or that taper at a certain area, this will help you do that. So I used my 1 open, then I used it closed, and now I'm using my number 2 guard again, just cleaning up the top of that taper to make sure the taper actually flows in and connects with the rest of his hair. Now I'm doing some more detailing. I have my number 1 guard on there. As you can see, my lever is open. I'm using some corner blending. And I'm just trying to make this taper look nice. So as y'all can see, I'm adjusting that lever using the corner of my blades. I'm just doing some detail work just to get this fade to look nice, or this taper to look nice. And since we did, the biggest guard we used was a number 2, there really isn't too much work in between that 2 guard and the bottom line that we created. So we're just detailing with the 1 guard and the 1.5 guard just to make sure that that taper comes out good. All right, so now you see I'm freehanding the top of that taper to make sure it connects well with the bottom part of the taper. And I'm just cleaning up the wild hairs. So now we moving on to the edge up. This is pretty self-explanatory. And I don't know if y'all can see it from this angle or not, but I tend to put my index finger, you know, like on his scalp, and that's just like, it just helps me from keeping myself too shaky. You know, I put my index finger on his head and I use that, like I said, just to make sure my hand is steady. And then as you saw right there, I use my other hand to make sure that the trimmer was steady. I do tend to have a shaky hand sometimes, so doing that helps with basically not being so shaky and making sure I give them a nice lineup. So as you can see, I'm starting off on his beard. However, he did not want the beard. You know, there was a miscommunication in the consultation. I thought he wanted the beard, and once I asked him how he wanted the bottom, he was like, nah, I don't want the beard, let's cut it off. So I was like, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and actually just give him sideburns. But like I said, it was just miscommunication. Luckily, I asked him before I lined up the whole beard, so he decided he just wanted to keep the sideburns. So as you can see, I'm taking off the beard, and then I'm lining up his sideburn. So most of the time when they keep their sideburns, I like to do the C cup and the sideburns first. But like I said, it was just a slight miscommunication on my part. So yeah, I'll show you on the other side how I normally start off when they decide to keep the sideburns and not the beard. So I'm just lining that up, making that look good. Now I'm fading my sideburn into the taper, doing some more detailing work with my 1.5 guard. I don't know, that taper looks pretty blurry to me. I think we putting in work. Let's go. All right, so now we starting on the opposite side. As you can see, remember I said when I put in my bald guidelines for taper, a lot of the time I like to start with doing the line on the back of the head and over the ear first. And I just feel like that's easier for me because I'm gonna go ahead and bald them out on the taper anyway, so I'm gonna continue to use the trimmers. So while they're in my hand, for me, it's easier to go ahead and line them up behind the ear. So as you can see now, I'm lining up the side of his sideburns, or the back of his sideburns, and now the front side. And this is how I normally start off my taper if they tell me they want to keep sideburns. I line that up first and then I start to taper it. So I have my a guideline at the bottom of the sideburns, and then I'm gonna do one towards the top of the C cup, and then I'm just gonna connect those two lines. All right, so now we're gonna get into actually tapering. As you can see, I'm setting in my bald guideline, doing that half circle shape. And on this one, I'm actually gonna start with my number 2 guard. And as you can see, I'm debulking all that area, flicking out, guiding the clipper away from the scalp, floating it away, and just fading all that hair in and basically into that number 2 guard to where it makes this taper a lot easier for me to do. So basically what that does is, it's making it easier for me to fade that long hair because I'm just fading it into a 2 from the 0, if that makes sense. I may have said that confusingly, but y'all know what I mean. The longest guard that I used was a 2, so I'm fading that bottom guideline into the 2. That's what I meant to say, but I just said it wrong. But y'all know what I meant. And I want to take this time right now to ask y'all if y'all can please like this video. Y'all just hit that like button one time for your boy. It don't take too much effort. Also, if you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe to the channel one time for your boy. Y'all know how we do, man. Let's go, let's get it. I'm gonna be continuing to put out content, man. Like, I got a bunch of videos still in the archives, still in the vault, just ready to get dropped. So I'm trying to edit them, at least 1 or 2 videos a day. That way I don't have to edit them all at once or right before I drop them. I am gonna be participating in that first clipper challenge that Rum Barber actually just put out. They put out a video using the first clipper they ever used, and they put out a video using it. So I just ordered my clipper yesterday that I first started with off of eBay. So it should be coming in by the end of the week or early next week. I'll be filming a haircut. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing an actual tutorial or what, but I will be filming a haircut, and then yeah, I'll be posting that up on YouTube also. And then I've been contemplating if I should basically if I should do the every haircut challenge. I might do it. I know it's an older challenge, but I see 360 Jeezy still reviewing them and still going over them, so I might participate in that. Who knows? All right, so let's move on to the back. So as y'all saw, I had my number 2 guard on there, and I debulked and I faded out, floated the clipper up. Then I used my lever closed. It might have been open, I'm not sure. But I just freehanded some of that hair towards the top of that taper. And now I'm balding out the back with my trimmer. Got my shaver, and I'm going over everything I did with the trimmer. And now I'm gonna do the same exact steps that I did on the sides to the back. So a lot of times people like to overcomplicate what you're gonna do to the back of the taper. Like, it's literally the same exact thing you do to the sides. There's no different. The only different thing is sometimes you have grooves or humps in the back of the head due to the occipital bone. And but yeah, if you can get around that, for the most part, it's the same exact thing. As you still want to follow the same steps. You still want to be able to use your corners. You still want to make sure you're flowing the clipper out when needed, and then just detail when needed. So as y'all can see, I'm just freehanding the top of this taper, making sure it all fades in together. And remember, I did say we were gonna trim the top slightly, so I think that's what I'm gonna start doing here shortly. And I'm just cleaning it up slightly. Like, he didn't want too much taken off, so I'm just I'm just going over it, cleaning it up a bit. So as y'all can see right here, I'm freehanding the top. I like to do it with my clipper closed. Some people do it with the clipper open, and some people actually use shears. I like to do it with my clipper closed first, and then sometimes I go over it with my shears just to clean it up. But yeah, guys, I don't know, for whatever reason, I did not film me lining them up with the razor, but I did do it. Y'all know how I do. But yeah, I didn't film that. So, but yeah, as you can see, I'm just doing some small detail work, hitting them with that trimmer one more time, making sure everything is nice and lined up. Just making sure everything is clean and crisp before I did use the razor on them. But yeah, man, we working. All right, guys, so check it out. This is how he came in to the barbershop. He needed a haircut, and this is how he left. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comments, guys. Let me know if I did this man right. Let me know if I should have did something different, if I should have attacked this haircut a different way. Or you know what, y'all even let me know what y'all would have done to make sure this haircut was icy. I think I did this man right, but y'all let me know what y'all think. But anyways, guys, if y'all haven't done so, please like this video and subscribe one time for your boy. I appreciate y'all, YouTube. Until next time.